Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy iOS Tuesday. We are live again. We are back for iOS Tuesday again. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Eugene. I am an iOS developer. If it is the first time we're connecting, welcome to my iOS um, Tuesday. So, what iOS Tuesday is all about? iOS Tuesday is all about iOS community, iOS developer community. It's a way to communicate with you. It's a way to reconnect with the community. It's a lot. It's a way for me to talk to you live and just share all things about iOS development, all news that there are in the community. So this is what I decided to live stream on Tuesdays about iOS development. So I'm streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook. Oh, sorry. Let me do it again. I'm streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So no matter where you're watching from, if you're watching like on the replay crew, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching live, so do the YouTube thing. Like by the way, the best way to keep up with my live streams is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell notification button so you can then get notifications from me. Um, um, and if you follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter, so you're probably gonna see my live streams there as well. So, what we are going to talk about tonight, we are going to start with App Store review guidelines update. So let me just I got up, up, uh, updates. So we're gonna start with that one, and then we're gonna talk about LinkedIn profile and how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So let's start with App Store review guidelines updates. So let me share my screen and basically what those updates all about. They're updates to in-app events. So we're gonna read through those updates. And if you remember the lawsuit Epic versus Apple, so in lawsuit Epic versus Apple, Epic won in terms of that judge said that Apple has to allow um, other ways to collect payments. So now they remove this section where developers are not allowed to use personal information to target users for payments other than in-app services. And the third one is about basic information such as name and email address. So let's go through those through this email. So we would like, hello Eugene. We would like to provide an update on App Store review guidelines. Those changes are support new features in upcoming OS releases. OS stands for Operation System. But to better protect customers and help your apps go through the review process as smoothly as possible, please review those updates. So the first update that is available is 2.3.13. In-app events are timely events that happen within your app. To feature your event in App Store, you must fall within an app type within event type provided in App Store Connect. So if you have in-app events, you can feature those in App Store, and that in-app event has to fall into that category. All of that metadata must be accurate and portraying to the event itself rather than App One generically. In other words, if you are featuring in-app event, it has to feature the event itself rather than your app, and that must happen at the time and dates you selected in App Store Connect. So in App Store Connect, you can select a date and time for the event, and those should be accurate. So those, like when you schedule an app event in App Store Connect, those events should happen in your app. You may you may monetize your event so long as you follow rules set forth in Section 3 on business. So if you want to make money, if you want to monetize your event, you can certainly do this. You can certainly do so, and um, and your event deep link must direct users to the proper destination within your app. So then what is deep link? Deep link is the link that you send to your users, like on emails or text messages. So when a user taps on that link, it will open your app on that exact destination for that in-app event. And you can read more in-app events for detailed guidelines. So what is deleted? So the thing that we talked about, developers cannot, like, that was deleted. That is not there anymore. Just a remark. Developers cannot use information obtained within the app to target individual users outside of the app to use purchasing methods other than in-app purchases, such as sending an individual user an email about purchasing methods after individual signs up for account within the app. In other words, before Epic lawsuit, you could not send your user an email and say, yo, this is how you're going to pay for our services. And if it is anything else than in-app purchases, like, that was not allowed. So now it was deleted. Now it is allowed. Now you can use other methods for payments rather than in-app purchase. So what else being added? 5.1.1x, apps may request basic contact information such as name and email, so long as the request is optional for the user. Features and services are not conditional on providing the information, and it complies with all other provisions of these guidelines, including limitations on collecting information about kids. In other words, you may request name and email address, but that request should be optional, and you should not prevent your user from using your app from using your app if they don't provide email address and name. So these are updates for App Store review guidelines. So let's talk about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, per my experience, LinkedIn is an amazing tool to network with recruiters, to search for jobs. I have an amazing success within the LinkedIn, within the platform. I was able to find a job through LinkedIn. I was able to land the interview through LinkedIn, and I think, honestly, if I were to compare LinkedIn to other platforms such as Twitter, such as job boards, such as networking on meetups, I would say that LinkedIn actually, well, let me rephrase it. I would say networking on the meetup events, like when you meet up with other developers, and networking on LinkedIn, they're kind of like in part for me because my current job I got from networking with, like, on the personal level through different spaces, through meetup spaces. So let's go ahead and get started. How to optimize your LinkedIn profile. And I will put like edit so I can comment on each section how you can optimize it. So I don't think that it is like I wouldn't think that it's necessary to say that, but your first name and last name, if you are looking for a job in North America, in Canada, in the United States of America, if your profile is in English, your first name and last name should be capitalized. Unfortunately, it's not the case for some of the profiles. I've seen profiles with lowercase. It should never be the case. Be professional. First name, last name, always capitalized. You can select your pronouns. That's that's good. But let's talk about headline. This is the part where a lot of people missing out on providing your information, providing the information. So on the headline, you should use that real estate really, really smart and very strategically. So in headlines, you should provide the keywords, how the recruiters are going to find your profile. So if you look at my profile, and by the way, I'm using my profile because it was like, I believe I got pretty good success with recruiters, and my LinkedIn works really well. So I use iOS developer, mobile developer, software engineer, UI kit, map kit, Swift UI, XUI test, CocoaPass, SPM, Swift. So those are keywords that recruiters may use in their Boolean search or in their search for candidates. So they might use for iOS developer, they might use for mobile developer, they might look for software engineer, they might look for specific tools such as Swift UI. They might use for specific tool as XUI test or CocoaPods or Swift. So those are important to have in your headline. Sometimes people would use something creative, that passionate iOS developer, creative, blah blah blah. Don't waste space on the headline because it is crucial. The more keywords you have on your profile, the easier it is for recruiters to find you. Then you specify your current position, like it's also self-explanatory. You provide your country, your code, and another thing about the country and the code and the city. If you're looking for a job in a particular city, let's say I'm in Denver right now, but if I were to look for a job in Tampa, Florida, or in New York, or in Seattle, Washington, if I want to move back to Seattle, Washington, I would change my postal code and my city to the area that I'm targeting for my job. So recruiters in that area can actually see my profile. And I explain later that I'm trying to relocate or that I'm working towards it, or whatever the situation might be. If you can afford fly to the interview, if you can afford to travel and take the interview, you don't really have to say anything that you are not really relocated in there. So, and it is really a different topic for another live stream, how to relocate to another city and how to search for a job in another city when you haven't relocated yet. So, and your personal contact information you can provide. I won't click on that because we're on the internet, and I don't know who might be watching. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you're more than welcome to. But on the on the contact information, you can provide your profile URL, your website, your phone number, your birthday, your web chat ID, whatever the case might be. So to summarize this portion, headline is really, really important for utilizing LinkedIn correctly. So, and headline is for the keywords, how people can actually find your profile. So let's scroll down. Um, so let's talk about section. In the about section, you can write a sentence or two about yourself. For example, I'm an iOS engineer. I'm very passionate about mobile development. Majority of the time, I work with native iOS application using Swift. Again, keywords, Swift UI kit, map kit, and trying to explore future possibilities of Swift UI, which is true. I'm always open to learning new technologies and frameworks. So it's a nice kind of like a couple of sentences, 2, 3 sentences introduction about yourself. Then you specify your technical skills: Xcode, RESTful API, Firebase, UIKit, Swift UI, MapKit, Sketch. Here's the thing about technical skills, like, and let's go back to the headline. I had not argument, but sort of argument with one person. um, Asked me, like, what would I put Xcode in my technical skills? What would I put Swift in my technical skills? Why would I put UIKit in my technical skills? I don't have to do that. I'm an iOS developer. Everybody knows that I am using those frameworks. It just makes sense that I use Swift. It just makes sense that I use MapKit. Swift UI maybe because it is a new framework, but like those like Xcode and other things, it's self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to. Well, the thing is, when you're looking for a job, recruiters will look for candidates. Recruiters will look for candidates, and some of the recruiters may not know that an average iOS developer is using Xcode. And it's self explanatory for you. It is very obvious for me, but it may not be obvious for a recruiter. And um, I don't know, like if a software developer doesn't know how to use Xcode, they may not be a native iOS developer, even if they're not native iOS developer. Here's the thing: if you work with a third-party frameworks such as React Native or Flutter, you may at some point use Xcode anyway, and you should have Xcode anyway because it's just how those frameworks work. So yes, the skills that are obvious to you, they're not obvious for the recruiters. The skills that like you think might be obvious for you as an iOS developer, they may not be as obvious for your recruiter. So please specify your technical skills, specify the skills that you absolutely know. Here, like test automation, XUI, test lightning WebDriver, which I may delete because sometimes I get irrelevant positions about test automation and I don't do test automation anymore. Architecture, MVC, MVVM, MVP. Also, sometimes I see in the requirements certain architectures, certain design patterns. So I provide that. Programming languages: Swift, Python, JavaScript, Kotlin. Source control: GitHub, GitLab, TFS, CI/CD, Jenkins, Bitrise, Fastlane. So, in other words, about is a summary of your experience, what you can do, what you utilize, and what what languages and what frameworks you use. Then, when it comes to the experience, for your experience, it should be identical with your resume. Your resume may like let me just rephrase that. It should be identical to your it should be identical to the dates. So the dates should align with your resume. Bullet points, what you do for your employer may differ. So, and again, like it depends on the position. If you are looking for a position or if you're applying for a position that heavily involves Swift UI, you want to emphasize what you did with Swift UI and what you can do with Swift UI. And another point is that, like, Swift UI, right? And I can do like quick search on my page, and I can actually see where and how like where would I use Swift UI and like things of that nature. Let's say I want to see MVVM. Um, the same kind of thing. I want to see where and how I use MVVM. So it's beneficial to use those skills, technical skills, in your actual like bullet points for your job. So, um, education also self-explanatory. Like you put your education. One thing about education though, I highly recommend, like, not everybody has graduated from a university or from a college. So if you haven't, like, you can put like some degree. I think there's an option to put like some degree, but don't claim that you have like a master's or bachelor's degree if you don't have one, because those can be requirements for the job. So later on, when recruiter reaches out to you and asks, like, do you have bachelor's degree or do you have master's degree, and you don't have those, and you posted that on your LinkedIn profile on resume, it may not look good. So certification, so like you can post certificates, like whatever you accomplish. Some people ask me, is it important to have certificates for landing a development job? I personally don't think so. Um, I have this one. Like, it was when I was in Providence. We had that boot camp, um, but like it never hurt me nor helped me. So I just haven't. Skills and endorsements. Yes, it is important to have your skills here as well. So again, keywords. Again, people may endorse you on certain skills. I don't know how useful it is, but like that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have. So and recommendations, really important. Uh, it- uh, I mean, if you don't have recommendations on your LinkedIn profile, that's fine. But if you do, like, let's say when you leave your employer, or when you're thinking about leaving your employer, if you have good connection with your manager, if you have good connection with your coworkers, it is always beneficial to have um, um, recommendations for your job, so other people know how awesome you are. Other people know how good you are at what you do. So like it helps. So giving recommendations here as well. And then, like, accomplishments, you can put courses that you study. You can put languages that you speak. You can put projects, and here goes your interest. So, um, yeah, like that's about LinkedIn. Again, to reiterate, like, yeah, very important point that I almost forgot. Like, for images, your picture has to be professional. It has to look good. It has to be in the good lighting, and it has to be a flattering picture. So ask your friends, or better yet, if you can afford it, go to a professional to a professional Photoshop and or like a person who can do a professional photo. uh, do that. Your background is not that important. You can select it from LinkedIn if you care. um, uh, what else? We talk about the headlines. Headlines is for keywords, so recruiters can find you easier. Um, about it's it's a summary of your technical and non-technical uh, skills. So, and also like activity, it's really important to like behave on it's really important to behave on LinkedIn, and because other people may see what you share about, what you talk about, or how you interact with other people. So even though LinkedIn is more like, sometimes LinkedIn may feel like a Facebook. It's not Facebook. It's a professional network. So if you utilize LinkedIn for networking and finding a job, so be professional and refrain from the conversation that distract people from your professional, from you as a professional. So that's about it. It's a little quiet today in the chat. I don't see a lot of people today. So hopefully, um, this video will get more views on the replay crew. So if you are new to my channel, subscribe, like the video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.